Hey everyone! So, I was really happy to see how many of you liked my video about strange British habits. So today I thought I would touch upon some Slovenian ones. If you don't know this yet, I'm originally from Slovenia. I currently live in London, but I'm 100% Slovenian and have lived there for 22 years. In case you've never heard of my home country before, it is a tiny Middle European country surrounded by Austria, Italy, Croatia and Hungary, and the population is 2 million, so there's not a whole lot of us, but yeah, now that we got the basics out of the way, let's start with the actual video. I'm filming it in two parts because I have a lot of facts slash habits to share with you, so this will be part one. And by the way, I know that every single person is an individual, and these facts obviously aren't true for every single Slovenian person out there, but with this type of videos, some generalizations just have to be made. So here is how you know you're Slovenian. Number one, you have a closet full of slippers. In Slovenia, we don't normally wear shoes inside. Everybody, including guests, take their shoes off as soon as they enter the house, in the hallway, and so that their socks don't get dirty or their feet get cold, we give them slippers. And that's why we have at least a couple of drawers in the hallway dedicated to slippers. Number two, if you need to go somewhere and the drive takes more than an hour, you feel like it's really far away. I think this has a lot to do with the fact that people in the past used to live and work in like the same small town. They didn't commute or travel very often, so whenever they went somewhere that was like an hour away, I guess, that was kind of a big deal to them. And now I feel like it's just rooted in the nation, and I think the size of the country also plays a big role in that. You basically need about 3 or maybe 4 hours to get from one side of the country to another in Slovenia. So I think people perceive these smaller distances as bigger, if that makes sense. For example, in my case, here in London, it can take up to like 2 hours to get from one side of the city to another, and that's not a big deal to me. It's completely normal. I spend hours every day on public transport if I need to, and I don't even flinch. But when I used to live back home in Slovenia, just traveling from my hometown to the capital, which is like an hour away from where I used to live, it seemed like such a big task to me to like take the train and travel for an hour, so I never did it unless I absolutely had to, and then, you know, had some obligations in Ljubljana, let alone going to the seaside or to the mountain region, which are both like 2 hours away from where I live. I did that maybe a couple of times a year and made like a day trip out of it, whereas now when I go home, I'm amazed at how close everything is, and I definitely regret the fact that I didn't take advantage of that in the past. Number three is you meet people for coffee, no matter what time of the day it is. People here in the UK mostly meet up for drinks at a pub or maybe go out for dinner, whereas Slovenians, obviously we still go out with friends for dinner and for lunch, but more often than not, we would meet up for coffee. So yeah, we usually meet up at a coffee shop, have coffee or, you know, a drink of your choice, chat for hours, sit out in the sun if the weather is nice. And also, even if you visit a friend over at their house, the first thing that you'll probably be offered is coffee, and you'll also be served some biscuits or something. If you arrive during the day or if you're coming over during the evening hours, you'll most likely be forced to stay over for dinner, and you will be served bread and dry meat and cheese platters. Let's move on to the next fact, which is fact number 4. You are very invested in winter sports and you spend every winter weekend glued to your television watching skiing and ski jumping. I guess Slovenians can be called like a winter sport nation. We start skiing at a very young age. It's like our favorite winter activity, I guess. And we also have a lot of world's top athletes in like winter sports who kind of become some sort of national heroes. And they are usually the reason we spend our weekends in front of the TV cheering for them. And also, when the winter sports world champion competitions are held in Slovenia, they always turn into full-blown nationwide parties for some reason. And so do receptions, you know, when like the athletes come home with like medals. yeah, there's always parties involved. Okay, fact number 5 is you spend most of your summer holidays in Croatia. It's actually a really funny thing because we have this rivalry going on with Croatia, but we always spend at least part of our holidays at the Croatian seaside. We actually have our own seaside, but because it is so tiny, we end up going to our neighbors. Lots of Slovenians have their own caravans in Croatian camps, so they spend like their whole summer holidays in Croatia. Lots of them also own houses there, and others just obviously stay at hotels. But yeah, if you are ever visiting Croatia during the summertime, it is most likely that 50% of the people you bump into there will actually be Slovenians. Fact number 6 is a bit of a controversial one, but envy is your middle name. It's a very known fact that Slovenians are a very envious nation and they gossip a lot. Everyone tends to know everything about everyone, and people are always being criticized for what they do, what they wear, just everything pretty much. You can't avoid it, especially if you come from a small town like me. And yeah, it's actually one of the reasons why I've always wanted to move abroad. But let's move on to the last fact of the day, which is fact number 7. You hike a lot. Slovenia has a lot of hills and mountains, and you know, during the warmer months of the year when we aren't glued to the television watching winter sports, you can usually find us hiking up the nearest hill. You are forced to do it as a child and you hate your parents for it, but when you become an adult, you start doing it voluntarily. I don't know, I guess it's just in our blood. And usually once you're done hiking, you know, and reach the top of the hill and the mountain cabin, you usually go there to have some hot tea and a traditional Slovenian lunch, or at least some dessert. So these were all 7 facts that I wanted to share with you in this video. As I have said at the beginning, I have part 2 of this video coming up very soon, probably next week or maybe even in a couple of days. So make sure to subscribe to my channel to not miss that video. And also don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and would like to see more similar videos in the future. Yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!